Okay, let's take a look at the basics on how to play Batman Gotham City Chronicles, the role-playing game by Monolith Board Games. In this RPG, you play as either a hero, a villain, or someone in between who has powers ranging from an everyday schmo to a super-powered entity. The one thing that all characters in this game have in common is that their adventures take place in Gotham City, the famed domain of Batman himself. Whether or not you ever meet Batman or play as him is up to you, your play group, and the GM. This is a D20 based game, which you may find familiar if you've played more traditionally designed RPGs in the past 25 to 30 years. But we'll go over all the basics in this video. You can use the video's timestamps to jump to certain spots as needed. Those can be found in the video description, where you can also find links on where to find digital and physical copies of this game. This video covers the basics of how to play this game. We will take a glance at the optional rules at the end of the video, but if you want more specifics on all the rules, including rules on higher level play and the optional rules, you'll need a copy of the core rulebook. Again, links are included below for where to get that book. Character creation. Choose your play mode. There are 3 character creation modes in the Batman Gotham City Chronicles RPG: Streets of Gotham City, Shadows of Gotham City, and Wonders of Gotham City. They each offer a fundamentally different play experience. Streets of Gotham City is perfect for gritty, realistic scenarios like police investigations or stories that take place in the seediest areas of Gotham. This mode allows players to create ordinary citizens who might become extraordinary: detectives, journalists, gangsters, attorneys, private investigators, etc. Characters created using this mode only have access to common ways, reflecting their lack of extraordinary abilities and superpowers. Shadows of Gotham City mode allows you to create heroes from more fantastical scenarios, in which characters operate on the borderline of both human potential and the laws of physics. This is the mode for players who want to play as hyper-talented crime fighters or super criminals, but who do not have superpowers. Examples include members of the Batman family or villains like the Penguin, Two-Face, the Joker, or Harley Quinn. This mode grants access to both common and shadow ways. Wonders of Gotham City mode is for epic scenarios where superpowered characters wield hyperbolic, metaphysical, and supernatural powers. Players can create characters like Black Canary, Poison Ivy, Killer Croc, Solomon Grundy, and Clayface. Characters created using this mode can access common ways, ways of shadows, and of course, ways of wonders. Matching or mixing play modes. All players in a group should create their characters using the same mode to avoid large discrepancies in power. This also ensures that the characters match the scenario. The GM generally dictates the mode to guarantee a cohesive game experience. However, it is possible for experienced players and GMs to run games that include characters created using different modes. To balance the power levels of characters created using different modes, the GM can adjust the difficulty of challenges and encounters to suit the capabilities of each hero. For example, in a scenario featuring Renee Montoya, Batgirl, and Poison Ivy, the GM could introduce challenges that play to each character's strengths. Montoya, with her expertise in investigation, could be tasked with gathering clues and interrogating witnesses. Batgirl, with her enhanced combat abilities, could engage in direct confrontations with criminals. Poison Ivy, with her plant-controlling powers, could manipulate the environment to create obstacles for enemies or provide cover for her allies. The GM can also award experience points at different rates based on the character's creation mode and the level of risk they undertake. This ensures that characters created using less powerful modes can still keep pace with more powerful characters. Making a character. Here's a walkthrough of the steps of character creation. Choose a profile. Each character profile offers players a template that they can use to create their hero. Profiles can be either generic or predetermined. Generic profiles allow for more flexibility in character creation, but predetermined profiles are based on established characters from the Batman universe, providing a solid framework for players to build upon. Let's make a sample character at the Shadows of Gotham City mode using this journalist profile. First, we come up with a name. Let's call her Chase Corbeau. Then, based on the profile description of journalists, we can use this as a springboard to get an idea of her training, background, and personality. You don't have to write a novel here. We can just say that she's an ambitious journalist who's been posting expose stories on the corrupt officials of Gotham City under the pseudonym Phoenix. That would be her secret identity. Next, we note her hit points die. This indicates the type of die used to determine her hit points and hit point recovery. We'll get to her total starting hit points when we sort out primary characteristics in a minute. The MA and RA indicate melee attack and ranged attack bonuses. These scores are actually modified by the character's strength and dexterity modifiers, so the final MA and RA scores can only be determined after we've sorted out the character's primary characteristic scores. But for the base bonus, let's choose +1 to melee attack and 0 to ranged attack. Exploit points, or EP, are used in the game as a general purpose meta currency, which we'll get to later in the video. Our starting EP in this case would be 2 plus our willpower mod, which we'll determine after sorting out our primary characteristics. Capacity points, or CP, are earned when a character gains experience and are spent to purchase capacity levels in a character's initial ways, which are determined by the character's profile. Now, the journalist is listed under the Streets of Gotham City selection of profiles, but we want to play a Shadows mode game, which is higher powered. The biggest difference between these power modes is our selection of ways and how many capacity points we initially get to level up in those ways. So since our journalist is actually a Shadows of Gotham City level character, let's give her 4 CP instead of 2 at the jump. Primary characteristic with an edge. Some profiles provide a primary characteristic with an edge, representing the character's exceptional strength in a specific area. When a character makes a characteristic test with an edge, they roll 2d20 and choose the best result. Only primary characteristics can have an edge. For our character, let's make it intelligence. Initial ways. Each profile indicates the ways the character can acquire for free. These ways represent different areas of expertise. Characters gain new capacities as they progress through the levels of a way, and can eventually pick up other ways entirely. But it is not recommended for a character to have too many ways, since if you have too many, you won't be able to level them all up to the point where they are satisfying in play. Ways are divided into 5 levels, and each level grants access to new capacities that offer special abilities or bonuses. You do need to be able to justify the ways that you choose by connecting them to your character's background, profile, or training. There are essentially 3 categories of ways. Common ways. These represent ordinary skills acquired through training or experience, such as driving, computer hacking, or hand-to-hand combat. Ways of shadows. These are accessible only to characters created in Shadows of Gotham City and Wonders of Gotham City modes, and they represent skills honed to a higher level than common ways and are often associated with crime fighting or criminal activities. Ways of Wonders ways are restricted to characters created in the Wonders of Gotham City mode and represent supernatural powers like super strength, telekinesis, or the ability to control plants. There are 33 Ways of Wonders in the core rulebook. Each profile includes a list of initial ways that the character can acquire for free, representing the skills they already possess at the beginning of the game. When selecting ways, you will use capacity points to purchase levels within those ways. For journalists, there are 6 ways available. Remember, the initial ways you choose for your character will have an outsized role in how the game will play for you in terms of what your character is exceptionally good at, so choose carefully here. For our journalist, we'll choose the ways of investigation, stealth, and speech. These choices mean that our character will not be exceptional in fights or car chases or anything like that, but she will be a huge asset in a story involving unraveling a mystery. The hope is that everyone at the table can come to a consensus about what kind of Gotham City story they want to tell when everyone is creating a character. If you recall, we gave our journalist character 4 capacity points to start with, which means that we have 4 points to spend on our initial ways of investigation, speech, and stealth. You have to spend your capacity points on at least 1 level in your initial ways at the start in order to have at least 1 level in each. In our example here, speech and stealth are common ways, so buying level 1 capacity just costs 1 CP each. Investigation, however, is a shadow level way, and it costs 2 CP to buy the level 1 capacity. Finances gives an idea of the character's social level, lifestyle, and disposable income upon creation. The game doesn't want you to micromanage your money, so it pigeonholes your personal wealth into 7 different categories or tiers ranging from destitute to billionaire. Next, we choose a trait, one thing out of the ordinary about our character that distinguishes them from most other people. There are 22 traits listed in the core book, and they each provide a mechanical bonus of one sort or another. For our journalist, let's say that she has the trait of discreet, which gives her a +5 bonus for all tests for hiding or moving stealthily. Now, with each trait, you can choose up to 2 related disadvantages, of which there are 16 to choose from. Each disadvantage creates one kind of penalty test or another in certain situations, but they provide 2 extra points each towards one of your 6 primary characteristics at character creation. And they can give you a more complex, interesting character to roleplay. For our journalist, if we choose secret identity, we will have to meet or beat a 15 willpower check every time someone is particularly suspicious of our alter ego. But that gives us 2 more points to put towards our starting primary characteristics. Finally, we come to those primary characteristics, which are strength, constitution, dexterity, intelligence, perception, and willpower. These generally range from 3 to 18, with a score of 12 indicating good, 15 being really talented, and 18 being one of the very best in the city. We start with 8 in each stat, and since we are playing in the Shadows of Gotham City mode, we have 18 to maybe 20 or 22 points to allocate across these stats. Let's say we're going with a lower powered Shadows game, so we'll use 18 points to spread across these 6 stats. But remember, we also got 2 points from picking up that disadvantage trait of secret identity. Each of these scores comes with a modifier, which we can see here. These are normally added to a d20 roll when making checks in the game. Now that we have our primary characteristics mods, we can figure out our secondary stats. Hit points. At level 1, the character always has a number of HP equal to the maximum result of their hit points die, plus their constitution mod. So for our journalist, her hit die was a d8, and her constitution modifier is -1, so her starting max hit points would be 8 - 1, or 7. Melee attack is bolstered by your strength mod, and your ranged attack by your dexterity mod. In our example character here, those mods are both 0, so her MA and RA stay the same. Exploit points are bolstered by your willpower mod, which in our case again is 0, so no change. Choose your ethics. Ethics scores represent a character's moral compass. They consist of 4 scores. Order, which represents a character's respect for the law and authority. Justice, which represents a character's belief in fairness and fighting for what's right, even if it means breaking the law. Anarchy, which represents a character's disdain for rules and desire to disrupt the established order. And crime, which represents a character's willingness to engage in illegal activities for personal gain. Ethics scores are important for role-playing and can affect the character's interactions with the world. For example, a character with a high justice score might be more likely to help someone in need, even if it puts them at risk, while a character with a high crime score might be more likely to steal or cheat. You distribute ethics points during character creation, with the number of points varying depending on the character's experience level. For example, a level 1 character begins with 2 ethics points to distribute, while a level 10 character starts with 5 points. Our character is starting at level 1, so she has 2 ethics points to distribute. With values of Order 1 and Crime 1, she is willing to bend the law a little to maintain order in Gotham City. Leveling up. To level up, a character must obtain a certain number of achievements, which represent notable experiences and accomplishments throughout the game. The number of achievements needed to level up is equal to the character's current level. For example, a level 3 character needs to gain 3 achievements to reach level 4. When a character levels up, they receive the following benefits. Capacity points. Each time a character levels up, they receive 2 capacity points, which are used to purchase capacity levels in a character's way. Hit points. Each time a character reaches an even-numbered experience level, they gain a number of hit points determined by rolling their hit die without adding their constitution modifier, MA, RA, or SA. Each time the character reaches an odd-numbered experience level, their melee attack, ranged attack, or special attack score increases by 1 point. The player can choose which score to increase. Note that after level 10, characters gain fewer hit points upon leveling up. 1 hit point if their hit point die is a d6 or d8, and 2 hit points if their hit point die is a d10 or d12. Capacity points can be spent to purchase levels in characters' ways. Ways represent a character's areas of expertise. They are divided into 5 levels, and each level grants access to new capacities that provide special abilities or bonuses. Players must justify the ways they choose based on the character's background, profile, or training. Note that a character cannot acquire a level in a way that is higher than their current experience level. For example, a level 3 character cannot purchase a level 4 capacity. Characters can acquire capacities of ways that are not included in their initial profile. However, the cost for level 1 and 2 capacities of these ways is higher. It's 2 CP instead of 1. Again, it is recommended to focus on developing one way by purchasing all of its levels rather than spreading CP across too many ways. This is because higher level ways provide stronger bonuses and open up access to superior ways and augmented power capabilities. Tests. The core mechanic of the Batman Gotham City Chronicles RPG is the D20 test. This type of test is used whenever the outcome of the character's action is uncertain. To perform a test, follow these steps. First, the GM determines the difficulty of the action, which represents how challenging it is to succeed. Difficulties are expressed as target numbers. The default target number for an easy action is 5. As the action becomes more challenging, the target number increases. For example, an extremely difficult action might have a target number of 30, but you're usually throwing dice against a difficulty between 10 and 15. Next, the GM decides which characteristic is most relevant to the action. This could be strength for forcing open a door, dexterity for picking a lock, or perception for noticing a hidden clue. Then the player rolls a d20 and adds their character's modifier for the chosen characteristic. For example, if a character with a dexterity of 14, plus 2 mod, is attempting to pick a lock, then the player would roll a d20 and add 2 to the result. Next, the player adds any other applicable bonuses to the roll, such as bonuses from a relevant capacity, a character trait, or a piece of equipment. And finally, the player compares the total result to the target number set by the GM. If the total is equal to or greater than the target number, then the test is successful. In an opposed test, 2 characters are in direct competition with each other. The player controlling each character performs a test as normal. The character with the higher result wins the contest. Opposed tests are used for actions such as grappling, arm wrestling, or a battle of wits between 2 masterminds. In a cooperative test, 2 or more characters work together to accomplish a task. Each participating character makes a test with a difficulty of 10, using the same characteristic as the main instigator of the action. For each successful test, the main character receives a +2 bonus to their test. A critical success grants a +4 bonus. Cooperative tests are useful for tasks that require teamwork, such as moving a heavy object or performing a complex surgery. A critical success occurs when a player rolls a 20 on the d20 without any modifiers, or when the total result of the test is at least 10 points higher than the target number. This indicates an exceptional success, and the character achieves their goal with additional benefits determined by the player and GM. A critical fail occurs when a player rolls a 1 on the d20 without any modifiers, or when the total result of the test is at least 10 points lower than the target number. This indicates a disastrous failure, often resulting in negative consequences determined by the GM, such as an injury or a setback to the character's plan. Exploit points, or EP, are a valuable resource that players can use to give their characters an edge. Characters gain EP based on their willpower mod. EP can be spent to add 10 to the result of a d20 roll, transform a successful test into a critical success, re-roll a die after a critical fail, or increase defense by +10 against one attack during combat. The GM can also award EP to players for exceptional role-playing, encouraging creative and engaging gameplay. Players regain spent EP after an adventure has concluded, or every 4 to 8 hours of play if a break or positive event allows the characters to rest. Combat. Combat is designed to emulate the thrilling confrontations found in comic books. Initiative. The participant with the highest total acts first, followed by the next highest, and so on. If multiple participants have the same initiative, the one with the highest perception score acts first. This order is maintained throughout the combat round. During each round of combat, which represents approximately 10 seconds of real-time fighting, each participant can take a combination of actions. There are limited actions, think of these as special actions, they consume the character's entire round, preventing them from performing other actions. It's usually used to activate powerful abilities or perform complex maneuvers. A movement action, this allows a character to move about 60 feet. Examples include running, jumping, climbing, and swinging on a rope. Attack action, this is used to attack an opponent with a melee, ranged, or special attack. And free action. This represents a quick action that can be performed in addition to other actions. Examples include giving a short order, pressing a button, or activating certain abilities. A character can take one limited action, or one movement action and one attack action, or two movement actions. Additionally, they can take up to 2 free actions per turn, as long as they are not the same action performed twice. There are 3 primary types of attacks. Melee attack is used for hand-to-hand combat or when attacking with a melee weapon, such as a sword or baton. The attacker rolls a d20 and adds their MA score, which is based on their profile and their strength mod. Ranged attack is used when attacking from a distance with a weapon like a gun or a batarang. The attacker rolls a d20 and adds their RA score, which is based on their profile and their dexterity mod. Special attack represents a unique attack that doesn't fall neatly into the melee or ranged categories. This could be a psychic blast, a burst of flame from a flamethrower, or a maneuver that inflicts a special condition on a target. To resolve an attack, the attacker's roll is compared to the target's defense. Def represents a character's ability to avoid being hit and is calculated by adding 10 to their dexterity mod. If the attacker's roll is equal to or higher than the target's def, then the attack hits. If the roll is lower, the attack misses. Hit points and damage. Every character has a pool of hit points, or HP, representing their ability to withstand damage. HP is determined by the character's profile and their constitution mod. Anytime you or another character takes a hit, damage dice are rolled to determine damage. The number and type of dice used depends on the weapon used, including natural weapons like fists and feet. When an attack hits, the attacker rolls the appropriate DD, or damage die, and adds any relevant modifiers, including their strength or dexterity mod. This total damage is then subtracted from the target's hit points. Damage dice in this game explode, which means if you roll the highest value on the die, you get to roll again and add your next roll to the total damage. As long as you keep rolling the highest value on that die, you get to keep rolling and adding to the total damage for that one successful attack. Combat complications. The environment can present a variety of challenges during combat. Changing levels, such as moving up and down stairs or jumping between rooftops, requires movement actions. Similarly, overcoming obstacles can also consume movement actions. Moving over difficult terrain, such as icy surfaces or muddy ground, can halve a character's movement speed. The GM may require a character to make a dexterity test to successfully navigate these complications. The outcome of the test can affect subsequent actions in the round. Prejudicial states are negative conditions that are applied to a character due to unfavorable circumstances. These states impose penalties on certain actions, making it more difficult for a character to perform effectively. Prejudicial states can be inflicted by a variety of sources, including attacks, environmental hazards, and special abilities. It's beyond the scope of this tutorial, but there are extensive rules on a variety of combat situations, such as charging, looking for a weak spot, disarming, immobilizing, fleeing, engaging in special defensive actions, and more. Serious wounds. When a character suffers a serious wound, they must make a constitution test. Failure results in the character becoming weakened and using a d12 instead of a d20 for all tests. When a character's HP is reduced to 0, they lose consciousness. To revive an unconscious character, someone must perform a successful intelligence test with a difficulty of 10. The test may be modified by capacities provided by medical ways. Upon success, the character regains consciousness after 1d6 minutes and recovers 1 HP. However, they remain weakened, which means they use a d12 instead of a d20 for all tests. Hit points are regained through rest. 6 to 8 hours of continuous rest allow a character to regain a number of HP equal to the result of their hit points die plus their level of experience and constitutional mod. Ethics. Ethics are a crucial component of the Batman Gotham City Chronicles RPG, representing a character's moral compass and influencing their actions and interactions with the world. Ethics consist of 4 scores, each ranging from 0 to 5 for order, justice, anarchy, and crime. When creating a hero, players distribute a set number of points across these 4 values, reflecting their character's moral stance. The number of points allocated depends on the chosen experience level. Ethics scores can fluctuate during gameplay, reflecting the consequences of the character's actions and choices. The GM can adjust these scores based on the character's deeds. Ethics serves multiple purposes during a game, adding depth to role-playing and influencing the narrative. Prerequisites. Certain ways of shadows require specific ethics scores to acquire or progress through their levels. For example, the Way of Justice requires a cumulative score in justice and order equal to the desired level. Bonuses and penalties. A player can choose one of their ethics scores to gain a bonus on a test related to an action aligned with that value. This bonus is equal to double the score. However, this decision grants the GM the right to later impose a penalty, also equal to double the score, on a test related to an action that contradicts that value. Optional rules. The game features a variety of optional rules designed to enhance gameplay and add depth to specific scenarios. These rules provide the option for playgroups to go deeper mechanically if that's something they want to do. These optional rules are beyond the scope of this tutorial, but can be found in the core rulebook. Teams and headquarters. The rulebook provides detailed guidelines for forming teams of heroes, allowing players to collaborate and benefit from specialized abilities. Players can create teams with a shared purpose, such as crime fighting, law enforcement, or even criminal endeavors. Teams have access to team waves, granting unique capacities that enhance their effectiveness. In addition to forming teams, players can also acquire headquarters. These can be anything from a secret base to a police precinct, a lavish apartment, or even a street corner hangout. Headquarters offer strategic advantages and provide a base of operations for the heroes. They can be customized with HQ ways, which grant specialized functions and capabilities. Madness. The rulebook includes rules for handling madness, reflecting the psychological toll that Gotham City's dark underbelly can take on its inhabitants. Characters can suffer from various mental afflictions, ranging from phobias to full-blown psychosis. Madness can impose penalties on certain actions or lead to unpredictable behavior. There are also rules for managing dangers, including environmental hazards like fire, falling, and explosions. These dangers can inflict damage or impose negative conditions on characters. Chases. The extensive chase rules provide guidelines for conducting thrilling chases on foot or in vehicles. They include mechanics for determining movement speed, resolving obstacles, and managing complications that might arise during the chase. Tailing someone. This section offers guidelines for conducting surveillance operations with rules for maintaining a discrete distance, avoiding detection, and gathering information on the target. The rules take into account factors such as the environment, the target's awareness, and the tailing team's skills and resources. Infiltration. This section details rules for bypassing security systems, remaining undetected, and achieving objectives while remaining hidden. The rules consider factors such as the type of security measures, the infiltrator's stealth skills, and the potential consequences of detection. Interrogation. These rules provide guidelines for extracting information from unwilling subjects, with rules for persuasion, intimidation, and utilizing evidence. The rules consider factors such as the interrogator's skills, the subject's personality and resilience, and the potential ethical implications of using certain techniques. Finally, the core rulebook contains about 80 pages of GM guidance and player advice, both in the context of a generic RPG and specifically for telling shared stories in the Gotham City setting. For players seeking to further enhance their experience and connect with other fans, the following resources are currently available. And you can also leave your rules questions down in the comments below, and maybe some of them will be answered. Thanks for watching. See ya.